Who had an awful cough, was hacking up lungs, and 103-degree fever? This guy right here. I'm Matt Howes, and this is Shits and Giggles, a podcast for dads. Welcome back there, winners. Yes, hey there, hi there, ho there, winners. There has been 2 weeks since last we spoke, fortnight, if you will. I have been miserable, horribly sick. You can probably still hear it. I'm on the ass end of it, but I mean, goddamn. I had 102.4 degree fever, and I was coughing all kinds of crap up, and then my wife got sick and Penny was sick, and it was just awful, a horrific experience. And if you think that my voice sounds bad now, imagine how it sounded when I couldn't speak a week ago. So I dropped that old radio to play episode that I made a million years ago just for something. Obviously don't have to care about that, but I just didn't want to leave you with nothing for the week. But yes, I have been ill, being sick as a dad. And it wasn't just a dad flu, where a dad gets sick and it's just always the end of the world, which does happen. We do tend to get sicker harder, but, it happens. But boy, I was gone, man, gone with the wind. I had an ice pack I had to put on my head. We didn't go to the emergency room or anything because it wasn't 104, but literally and my wife thought that I was like over-exaggerating a little bit. Then she takes my temperature, and she felt really bad about that because I was miserable. And again, putting the ice pack on my head, you could probably hear it going as I was cooling off. But boy, did that feel excellent. So why don't we just transition that right into the very first segment of every episode, the nice, wonderful little bit of Dadvice. Today's Dadvice is pretty simple. Keep a nice ice pack in the fridge, a very malleable one. This is not really like end-all be-all advice, but like I'm going to theme this episode around being horribly sick. But I have this it's like an ice pack, but it's a big blue one that kind of can form shape like to anything you put it around. It's pretty big. And with my huge fever that I had the other day, that felt so good putting it on my head that I highly recommend these for anything. And literally just you kind of put it on your head, and then you push it down so that it covers your head and it cools down your brain and stops it from melting when you have a horrible, horrible fever. And that's today's Dadvice. I know that wasn't very amazing for a 2-week break, but it is to me. I've been dying. Here it is, being sick as a dad. I think I've touched upon this before. It is not possible. It's very impossible to be sick as a parent in general, because no matter what, you have to still take care of your child. And then, especially when your child is sick, it's even worse. So I'm dying. My wife is dying. And Penny she was, still had to do everything. You can't just be like, all right, I'm taking the day off. You're a parent. This is new things. This is how it works now. Everything is about your lovely daughter. My wife and I even talked about that because we were like, it just sucks because you don't even get to be sick. And maybe that kind of spreads to why you're sick longer, because you don't have a chance to just be sick, and you try the best you can. Okay, I'm going to go take a nap. Why don't you go take a nap? And you live in a small place, so you're going to be spreading your sickness back and forth to each other regardless. And it's just impossible to stay healthy. But we went to the doctor, got some meds, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's the flu, so blah, blah, blah. But yeah, just thinking about before you have a kid, you get to sleep, you get to be whiny, you get to be grumpy, you can just, I don't want to do anything, I'm going to stay in. With the kid, you still gotta stay, and then we didn't put her in daycare this week. because she was sick and we were all sick and we didn't want to be, typhoid carriers, even though I'm pretty sure we got it from daycare, as I've been saying. But notwithstanding, just being sick sucks, guys. I hate to harp on that. I hope you didn't think it was a good thing. I hope I don't offend you by saying being sick sucks. But yeah, I couldn't even do an episode this week, man. I mean, like, come on. It's really... I very rarely can come up with a reason not to do a show. I always have a pretty good amount of material, or I can come up with something. But I felt so horrid that I literally had to cancel the show last week, which I hate doing. I apologize for that, and I will do that as little as possible. I promise you this. But, it is what it is. So we'll go into some of the stuff that I had prepared anyways. So listen, much like my illness, this podcast is going viral. In a fever dream, I wrote that. I said, that's a very clever line. That's going to sound so good. So I wrote it, and now I read it, and it sounds stupid. So we're going to move right past that. Here's fun. So it took me about 6 hours to watch a 3-hour movie. Okay, we're back into our parenting stuff now, guys. This is your new normal. We were trying to watch a movie the other day. I forget what it was, but it took literally all day for us to watch this one movie because of all the stuff you have to do as a parent. Like, you gotta get up and change her. We gotta feed her. We gotta, she's fussing. We gotta go play somewhere with her. And, again, wasn't feeling great. So it would have been nice to just sit and watch a movie, but it took so long to get through this movie that, like, by the end of it, we kind of forgot what the whole point of the movie was. But that's something that you don't think about. And this is things that I decided to talk about is that you can't, there's no sitting in one spot for 6 hours or 3 hours. No Lord of the Rings marathons are in your future. It was Star Wars that we were trying to watch. And it took us forever to get through it because, Penny and this, and then we were up and had to do things. It's just things come up now. You don't have that you don't have large bulk chunks of free time. And it's funny because it's just the little things that you don't think about that change. That's not the end of the world. It didn't even really bother me that much because, of course, it's spending time with my kid. But yeah, 6 hours to watch a movie is a long time. And you're like, I bet we can it's the weekend. I can get a bunch of movies in this weekend. And I got one movie and it took me 3 days. That's always fun. So yeah, daycare fun is still happening. At one point I was handed a sleep sack that we didn't provide. It was put in my bin to take home with me. So I had to give that back because I'm like, well, it's not mine. You guys can watch it. Thanks for letting us use it. Another thing, I get a picture from daycare once a day or so. They'll send one of Penny when she's doing something fun or if she's having a good time, which lately she's just been a stuffy mess, but whatever. We get the picture and my wife tells me that those are not the pants that we sent her to daycare in. And I was like, whose pants are those? Literally, my daughter's wearing some random pair of pants. I guess they had to change her for some reason. She drools a lot right now. She's teething horribly. But she just knew whose pants. Was it some rando's pants? Do they have stock pants? I believe we learned later that they have some stock clothing. But, then of course we washed them and gave them back. But I was just like, that's super weird that you just put her in a different pair of pants. She had a onesie on. Just leave her in the onesie. It's very warm there. I don't have to worry too hard about the temperature. It's Southern California, but here's some random pants. And they were this awful puke green color. So I should have known they weren't ours because I definitely don't think we own anything that is as gross as that color. But it's just super weird that the daycare will just do these things. And again, they almost gave me a sleep sack. Here's a sleep sack. And I wonder maybe they wanted me to wash it because they used it in her. And I'm like, I don't think that's part of my job. So you can go ahead and wash it yourselves. Thank you for using that for my daughter. She is still sleeping mostly on the floor at daycare, which is, it's kind of if she's sleeping at all right now, it's great. And they put her on a mat to sleep on. But just she won't do the crib right now, which is kind of obnoxious. But we'll get into that a little bit later. That's about it for daycare. All right, I told you about this a couple weeks ago. My buddies Johnny and Lila were getting married. Well, their wedding was this past weekend, and it was phenomenal. Everything went off marginally without a hitch. We gave Penny to the in-laws for the night. We ended up giving them she was there for 2 nights. And of course, I got sick on Saturday. That's when I really started feeling sick. And we gave Penny to my in-laws that night. And so I had a night to chill out, I guess. And Sunday I was at my worst level of sick. And I'm a groomsman. I cannot miss this wedding. So I had to suck it up, pop some Dayquil, do as much stuff as I could to get myself regular. And now we're without Penny all day. That's a feeling. Being without your child for 2 days and 2 nights. Here's an interesting thought. It's something you can't prepare yourself for because Sarah and I don't want to be not around Penny. And we don't have any really things that we have to do that don't require her. Or that means that she can't be there. But at this wedding, we weren't going to have a baby. A, I didn't want to bring a baby to a wedding in the first place because it was cold. It was going to be late. There's going to be a lot of drinking happening. And B, it's like they didn't want babies at the wedding. And why would you? They're crying. Sometimes it takes all the attention away from the bride and groom. So yeah, we had a 2-day respite. You know, I won't call it a respite because I do love spending time with my daughter, as I've said a million times. But it was 2 days where we didn't have Penny around. And I think we actually did utilize that to the maximum. I got a little bit of cleaning done and a lot of resting done. We haven't been sleeping a lot lately. But yeah, 2 days without Penny for the wedding of Johnny and Lila. And let me tell you, so we did the rehearsal dinner on that Friday. We brought Penny with us. And that was an experience. It was at a commemorative airfield in Camarillo. It was in a hangar. It was super fucking cool. So we had Penny there for the rehearsal dinner, and we really didn't have a lot of coordination for the rehearsal dinner. It was just us. There was no coordinator. They're like, okay, we marched 3 different times down the lane where we were supposed to go, which turns out wasn't even where we were going to do the ceremony in the first place. So the rehearsal dinner itself, besides the dinner, which was at Maria's Italian Kitchen later, was almost entirely unnecessary. We found out who we were walking with, and I held, this particular time, I held Penny and walked with my walking partner down the aisle. And then we went to dinner. We had trouble finding parking. We went to Maria's Italian Kitchen. It was not too far away. And I'm sitting there. We have my daughter in her high chair. She's sitting in high chairs now without any assistance. That's really nice. Across from me is my wife. We're in a large grouping of people. And what am I doing? I'm enjoying a drink. And what happens to me? I get shit on by a fucking bird. There's a bird that shits right on my head, which was wonderful. Ruined a perfectly great white shirt and part of my evening. But I truck through. I get the shirt off. I still have my undershirt. I go take a whore bath in the bathroom to wipe this bird shit off my head that miraculously hit nobody else but me. Not my child, thank God, and not my wife. And okay, so fuck me, right? Okay, I get shit on by a bird. About a half an hour, 45 minutes later, we're all having a good time, eating some bread. And what happens? I get shit on by that same fucking bird again. I got shit on twice in a row. It was glorious. And then everybody's, oh, it's good luck. It's good luck. And I'm like, you should buy a lottery ticket. It's good luck. And, you know, you've got these oldsters that are really like, oh, it really is good luck. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. Why don't you sit here? You know, let's see what happens. So go take another whore bath in the bathroom. And I'm like, that's it. So, you know, my food comes. I order a baked rigatoni. And the shit that's been hitting me has been like orange and black. So I am literally prisoner style eating my food. Because if the bird shits in this, I'm not going to see it. Because it looks like the sauce that I fucking ate it with. So I'm like literally huddled over my food, terrified that I'm about to eat bird poop, and I'm eating as quickly as possible, like because I've been shit on twice. And again, thank God my daughter did not get hit by this at all. But yeah, I finished my food. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. And guess what the fuck happens? I sit up. I get shit on for a third time. I stand up and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? What the hell is this? Blah, 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 blah. And literally, I was like, Johnny, Lila, I'll see you on Sunday. And like, I gotta go because this is fucking ridiculous. And I stormed out of the restaurant and my wife followed me with my daughter, and that was that. So that was a fun time. Again, thank goodness Penny did not get hit with the bird shit. But I mean, who gets shit on 3 times in the same sitting in the same night? I guess burn me once, shame on you. You know, or no, burn me once, shame on me. I don't know. I forget. Whatever. I put the hand on the stove. You know, I guess I should have just moved. But fun. Yeah, so that was a fun little rehearsal dinner, and then so we had that. Then we had the Saturday. We went to our friend Daniel and Marina's house to play pool. We didn't have Penny that night because we had so much stuff to get done in the morning on Sunday for the wedding. We had no dog. We literally just had the cat and my wife, and we were able to go play pool for a little bit and had a good time. You know, it was nice. It was good getting out and being able to have a good time without having to worry about changing a diaper every 5 minutes, or worrying that Penny's getting fussy, or in me worrying I'm not doing enough as a parent, or I'm putting too much on my wife, or vice versa. You know, I got to play pool with the guys. They have a pool table at their house, and it was really fun just to kind of sit there and bam, knock some balls into some holes, if you know what I'm saying. And I meant pool. I don't know what else I would be talking about, but yeah, it was definitely a good, nice, relaxing night out. And again, I just started getting sick, which was wonderful. A little bit of whiskey does always help with the illness, but mostly just kind of makes you forget about it. And, you know, not responsibly, we got home safe and sound, but it was that night without having to deal with diapers and crying and feeding. And, you know, I'm sure my mother-in-law had a wonderful time. She loves spending time with Penny, so she got to enjoy that. So she feels like she doesn't get enough time with her. And I'm like, well, there's 2 days, enjoy. And it made for a good, nice evening out. And then, of course, the next night we had the wedding. And I got a little tipsy-turvy. My wife drove home, which was nice. Open bar. You know, so the wedding itself, all of a sudden, it's like a half an hour past the start time, and there's no coordinator. So I went to I'm like, what the fuck, John? What's going on? We haven't taken any pictures. We haven't done anything. I literally walked to where the girls were getting ready. I'm like, Lila, why haven't we started? She's like, I was going to ask you the same thing. I'm like, who the hell is supposed to start this fucking ceremony? Like, everybody's sitting in their seats. There's nothing great. Nothing's happening right now, and it's just, you know, it's starting to get cold. You know, it was crazy. And it's just that was the biggest hitch there was. We eventually ironed it out, and we all started walking, which was great. Seeing them, Johnny and Lila, both looked amazing. I've never been to a Jewish ceremony before. It's fun. A Jewish ceremony, it's all about just drinking and having fun, and that's what they did. The rabbi was super. He was very funny. They broke the glass, all that. They did the speeches. And unfortunately, I was so sick that and I wanted to leave earlier than that. Obviously, I told John earlier that I was like, I can't, I'm not going to be able to stay this whole night. I'm so sorry, dude. And I'm like, I will be there for you for the ceremony regardless. But, you know, it was bad. I was starting to get really bad. And so I told Sarah, or she made us stay through the speeches, which was polite, and obviously it needed to happen. And then we went home, and I was, out like a light, and it was so nice to be able to go home and sleep and not to wake up every 5 minutes to do something for Penny, which again, this is your life. I'm not complaining about being a parent, but your dad's out there, you get it. You want to, when you're sick, you want to just fuck off for the day, you know, and that's what I needed, and it helped a little bit, but of course I then proceeded to be sick for another week, which was just terrible. But the wedding was great, the rehearsal dinner was great, and I enjoyed myself. My wife had a great time, and it was just a good weekend, TBH, to be honest. Last bit of my prepared material. Who out there is currently dealing with teething? Yes, my daughter is teething, which makes life a living hell for us right now. She is drooling like a motherfucker, which is, I mean, she's going through outfits at daycare, and bibs are always on her right now. And that's one thing. She's so uncomfortable, and that's just the way it is. It's teething. Like, it's so difficult for them to do. And I think it's a godsend that we weren't able to remember our teething, because I can't imagine that feeling, you know what I mean? And we can see we see a little white dagger tooth coming out. And I'm hoping a few come through at the same time, and it just kind of mouths a few out. We got these ice toys, or these teething toys that are frozen, that are helping her a lot. But, you know, in the middle of the night when she wakes up and she's just uncomfortable. And plus she's got a cough. It's awful. It sounds like a bronchial cough, but the doctor said there's nothing that they can do. She's too young for medicine unless she gets to 104-degree fever. So I'm like, well, all this mixed with teething is just like making, there was a couple nights this week that, along with my sickness, my wife's, I didn't sleep at all. You know, I would just try and take Penny out into the living room so that my wife could sleep in the bed, enjoy herself for a little bit. because I was coughing too much to sleep. And so her teething is really going crazy. And there's really nothing we've put. One thing we did learn is that you can put baby Tylenol in her bottle, like with the mixed in, so you don't have to use the syringe, which she may not like, and that actually helps with the delivery system. It's kind of like putting a shot of whiskey into a cup of coffee, I guess. But so that's teething. The last thing I think I got for you for prepared today is I fucking said it. I told you I said it. There's a class action lawsuit against baby Tylenol right now because it is the exact same ingredients as its infant Tylenol counterpart. So it's another thing, and it costs more money than the next step up. So it's another product, exactly a product that you have spent extra money on because you bought baby Tylenol, and the infant Tylenol is the exact same ingredients. Look it up. There's a class action. Get your $11, people, because I have been saying this since day one. The word baby adds money and not quality or ingredients half the time. Sometimes it does, but this is literally, it's the exact same ingredients between the two things, and it's a real lawsuit that's happening. So let's find more things like that we can sue over, boys and girls. That's what we do. But, that's what I got there for you today. But you know what that means. We're done with the prepared material. We get to move over to that fun, happy time, that fun time of the week that everybody enjoys, that everybody loves, that little bit of the week where we get a nice nugget of op-ed, perhaps, a little bit of perspective on, everybody's favorite segment, the Dadly News. The Dadly News is brought to you by Hard Hats and Bibs. Who are they, you may ask? They are a group of men and women who aim to show that it doesn't matter what gender you are, parenting is an even distribution of responsibilities. It's time to break stigmas. There's a lot more to them than that, but you can learn more about yourself by looking at their Facebook page or searching Hard Hats and Bibs. You can reach them you can reach out to them by email at hardhatsandbibs@gmail.com. You can also find them on Instagram and Twitter. Oh, here's a good one for you, winners. Dad kills coyote with bare hands after it attacked his child in New Hampshire. A coyote attacked a pair of dogs, bit a woman, and skirmished with a vehicle before being killed by a father defending his family on a walk on Monday, police said. CBSnews.com is where this is from. CBS station WBZ-TV reports that Ian O'Reilly said he had no choice but to fight. There was no running away. It would not allow us to run away, O'Reilly said. It was very much the aggressor. O'Reilly, his wife, and 3 young children were hiking at Jude's Pond when the coyote went after his young son. It actually caught the hood of his jacket and was able to pull him down, O'Reilly said. O'Reilly's wife grabbed the kids before the animal could bite anyone, and Dad found himself eye to eye with the snarling beast. I did kick him square in the jaw once. That put him on the ground, and I was able to jump on him after that, O'Reilly said. As his wife called 911, O'Reilly strangled the coyote during the several minutes that seemed surreal at best. In the moment, you don't really pay attention to what's going on. You just try to go with whatever goes through your brain, instincts, I suppose. O'Reilly said. The Kensington Police Department believes the same coyote was responsible for attacking a vehicle on a roadway in Hampton Falls, biting a 62-year-old woman and her dogs on a porch in Kensington, and attacking a family on a walking trail in Exeter. All 3 attacks were relatively close together and happened in little more than an hour. Kensington Police Chief Scott Kane said on Monday. Law enforcement officials were searching for the coyote when they got word that it had been killed. The coyote came out of the woods and grabbed the child by the jacket. The dad went into the protection mode and strangled the coyote, Kane said. New Hampshire Fish and Game collected the coyote and will test it for rabies. The victims were being tested for rabies as a precaution. Well, howdy do there, neighborinos. That is some, what is that, Liam Neeson, The Gray level shit, right? That I only know the cover of that movie, but I believe he was fighting a wolf, or he was a wolf. I can't quite remember. But that's crazy, man. And I mean, it's something you got to do. If there's an animal attacking your family, and that's an animal that A, potentially has rabies, and B, is a wild predator, that's something you got to take into your own hands, quite literally. But it sounds like this coyote was kind of an asshole. It's been fucking with people literally for the last like couple of hours, just going around fucking with people on their porches, biting at dogs, nipping at babies. Like, okay, dude, there's such a thing as becoming a bad name for your species, and that's what you are. You're a bad name for your species. Not that coyotes have a particularly good name, but Wile E would be a little upset to know that one of his neighbors, one of his cousins perhaps, is running around being kind of a dick to people. I'm gonna go around and bite people. So this dad, and I mean, what are you going to do? And there's people out there who say that, oh, you didn't need to kill the coyote. And I'm like, this coyote just went around town like serial disturbing the peace. And like, what are you going to do? It's attacking your family. And the guy's like, it's clearly not letting us walk away from the situation. And at some point, it's fight or flight. And this dad chose fight. And he jumped on that mother and he took it down to the ground. He probably gave it a choke slam into an elbow drop. He's a pro wrestler dad over there, but he took care of it. And that's what you do. Some shit comes out of the blue it's going to ruin. It could kill someone. It could literally kill someone. Rabies is no joke. People joke about it. Rabies, you have like a 2-day window and then you're dead. There's nothing that they can do about it if they don't catch it within the incubation period. So getting rabies, especially for kids, and I mean, this guy just running around fucking with all kinds of animals. Jesus, like, I'm glad that it's gone because I don't want it coming from New Hampshire, hearing my podcast in New Hampshire, and then trekking all the way across, like homeward bound, all the way over here, and then I open the door, and then the thing nips at me, and then I got rabies, or I got to fight too. I get it. Sometimes I do articles that people are going to be mad about. Well, guess what? Coyote, you're dead. All right. What's it like being a coyote? Huh? Talking to animals? Okay. Oh, that's a good one. That seems like a pretty fun article to come back with. Not too heavy. I'm still feeling a little under the weather, guys. I'm sorry if this has not been a wonderful episode, but I definitely will feel 100% by next week. But don't forget, we still have a little bit more, as you recall. It's everybody's wonderful, happy segment. We're checking in with my girl Penny. We're gonna check in with. Where is my penny at developmentally? My penny at, that was my girl. Where is my penny at developmentally? Penny development, 2 weeks, so many things to happen. Because we'll dive right in. Again, she stayed at the in-laws for 2 days. That was her first sleep away for an extended period of time, and that was difficult for us. She didn't seem bothered by it, and she didn't manage to get the in-laws sick, which is a number one. I guess she slept better over there than she did over here the last couple of nights, I'll tell you that. But it is what it is. She seemed okay, and she was very happy to see us when we picked her up again. She does this new thing where she's tired. It's super weird. She'll take her hand and she'll put it in front of her face, and she'll look at one side of it, and then turn around and look at the other side of it, and then turn it around. And it reminds me of, it's an old Simpsons episode where they burned all the marijuana in town because it was very prominent at the time. I forget what the deal was. And Otto, the school bus, is like, hey, they call them fingers, man, but like, I never see them fing. And she's literally just like obsessed. And then she'll slowly fall asleep doing that. I'm like, okay, whatever. However you need to fall asleep, you can fall asleep. That's fine. She is still obsessed with the cat. If the cat, she could be in the middle of a meltdown and the cat walks in front of her, she'll just stop and stare at the cat with a big like, hi. And it's adorable and actually very helpful. Sometimes I'll just throw the cat next to her when she's freaking out, and it does calm her down. She got ticklish all of a sudden. Her feet and her armpits are ticklish now, which is cute because I know that's a sign of, it's a developmental sign right there for sure, where I can give her a little tickle and she actually starts just giggling because I'm tickling her feet and her armpits. So that's, it's kind of, we're getting up there, and she's huge. Oh, she got her 6-month doctor's appointment. She is, the head size now is officially the term. It doesn't even have a number. It's greater than the 99th percentile. And I think they just don't want to call her the patient zero of head size. She has the largest head in the history of babies. Again, she's proportional. She looks great. She got a heavy head. That's where all of her weight is, I'm sure of it. But yes, she is in the greater than the 99th percentile in head size. That's a lot of fun. And as I said, she's teething. We see a tooth now, which is really cool. And there's a couple of these little brush teethers that we have. They have like a little rubber brush head on them. And she really likes those. Those help her kind of calm down when she's going fussy. So yeah, that's where we're at developmentally, guys. Not a whole lot, surprisingly, for 2 weeks, but I've also been dead. She's developmental alive. She's still alive. That's developmental right there. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm gonna put a lot of effort into this episode, don't get me wrong, but I'm still drained. I will put a good, happy, fun time, long episode out next week. It's something good. We'll have a lot of good topics. Again, as always, guys, send me your topics. I love it. I love it when people reach out to me about stuff that they want to hear about. Again, thank you for your patience for me not doing one last week, and I will do the best I can not to do that again, but I was very sick, and I still am. And guys, it's doing great. We are over 3,100 followers. That is a lot of people who want to listen to what I have to say. So we're on all the podcasting networks. We have finally got on Pandora. You can find us there. And I always upload the episodes to YouTube. That's always fun. And yeah, guys, just tell a friend. Like I said, if someone's having a kid, this is the show for them. Get some perspective from a dad out there. But guys, I'm dying, so I must leave you, as I do every week, with my world famous words of wisdom. My kid is better than your kid, and vaccinate your kids or keep them the hell away from mine. I'm Matt Howes, and this has been Shits and Giggles, a podcast for dads. You've just listened to one dad's perspective on parenting. This show is not meant to be an authority on how you should raise your kids. Did you enjoy the show? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on social media. Leave a review. Anywhere that you can find and download podcasts, you can find Shits and Giggles. Find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at shitsandgigs42 with 2 Gs. Email us at shitsandgigs42@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube as well by searching for Shits and Giggles, a podcast for dads. Don't forget, you can also call the hotline to leave a quick story about you as a parent at 818-835-2350. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.